right, is my microphone working now? Babe? Hey, there we go. It's Monday. A little bit later than usual, but welcome to this week's episode of Benchwarmers. I'll go back through exactly what I was talking about again. Anyway, so I left Houston this morning at 5:10 a.m. Houston time. Got back into Oakland around 7:30. I parked my car at the airport Thursday when I flew into Houston originally. Just because it was easier. Plus, I could just drive home, whatever, not have to worry about catching an Uber, Lyft, etc. Um, but left the airport, got on the freeway, and just absolute gridlock early ass in the morning. And I'm having to take all the side streets and stuff, which is exactly what everybody else is doing. So that took forever. Blah blah blah. Protests going on northbound and southbound on 880, not to mention the Golden Gate Bridge. And so it's just like it was going nowhere, baby. Where were we going? Nowhere. So missed my morning meeting and then just I just went straight to bed. I was so damn tired. And the whole time just like, okay, am I gonna be able to have the energy to do bench warmers tonight? And you know what? I didn't want to fall behind, so that's why I'm here. That's why we're doing a little bit late. Took me a little bit to put everything together, but we're solid now, baby. We're solid. Got my Oakland High School script hat. Got my Latrell Sprewell jersey that I, of course, the entire outfit that I wore on the airplane. And even though I took a shower last night, I still feel like I need one because, anytime you take an airplane anywhere, you always feel kind of gross and grimy, whatever. So, yes, thank you guys. Thank you for showing up this week. And for everybody in Houston who turned out for HTX 24, had an absolutely amazing time, with the exception of the wicked sunburn I got on my arms and back of my neck and stuff. And so, whoops, my bad. Should have put sunscreen on or something. But anyway, guys, always a pleasure to be with you. Let's talk about some sports. How about that? Gonna start the show off with oh wait, whoa. Sorry. I almost screwed up. Jersey scoop, only one. And oddly enough, I was able to travel to Houston and back before this jersey showed up, even though it shipped out like 3 days before I went to Houston. So anyway, it's the only one that's come in. Old school rookie year, Allen Iverson, but more importantly, it's the reverse Allen Iverson rookie jersey. So home, road, what have you. I've been trying to track this down for a long time. And since at least 1996, when he was the number one overall pick in the NBA draft. Got it, baby. Got it. About damn time. But anyway, let's talk about everything else that's kind of going on sports-wise. Oh, there now. Apparently I'm streaming now. It's great. UConn men's basketball becoming the first back-to-back NCAA champions in men's basketball since the Florida Gators of the 05-06 season. Shout out to Dan Hurley and the UConn Huskies for getting this done against Purdue. Although on the bad side of things, I thought Purdue was going to bring their A game. And it's not to say they really didn't. They had a great first half. But for whatever reason, the entire offense went through Zach Edey. Nobody else could buy a bucket. Nobody else could hit a free throw. And UConn ended up winning by double figures, which is bad for me considering my lock of the week this last week was Purdue is at least going to cover the spread by 6.5 points. Didn't happen. So already off to a hard start. Oh, for as I said, winning, of course, last year and then this year. And it's kind of crazy to look at this just because the fact that UConn wins their 6th national championship, putting them in a tie for 3rd place with North Carolina. Of course, UCLA at the top spot with 11, Kentucky with 8. But the reality with this is UConn getting 6 championships within just a 25-year time frame. I mean, Duke, you can kind of say the same thing about it because they went, 1991 through 2015 and won 5 during that time frame. But for the most part, every other team took like a good chunk of time to kind of get and build up their legacy. UCLA obviously did theirs within a relatively condensed time period, getting 10 with an 11-year time frame. The 1995, of course, being the only outlier. Shout out to Tyus Edney and the O'Bannon brothers, and assistant coach Steve Lavin and Lorenzo Omar for that 1995 UCLA team. But anyway, Dan Calhoun, Kevin Ollie, Dan Hurley, getting it done in a 25-year time frame between 1999 and 2024. Um, Dan Hurley, of course, very adamant about not taking the Kentucky IU head coach Mark Pope. Um, that, of course, was announced within the last 36 or 48 hours or so. Kentucky alumnus, was on the national, et cetera, et cetera. And former Indiana Pacer Mark Pope on top of which, too. So, kind of curious to see what UConn's going to do for the next couple of years. I wouldn't be surprised if they win another national championship. That's totally going to bum me out. But, for any of you guys who, like putting together a bracket, might be something to look into just because the fact that UConn is obviously going to dominate the Big East for, potentially the next decade plus. Um, but it becomes really more of a question of other schools are going to build their programs up, how the transfer portal is going to treat them, NILs, etc. But UConn is obviously in a great position to continue their dominance, like I said, at least for the next decade. So shout out to Dan Hurley and company on that one. Where are we going next? We're going to the Masters. Gold jacket, green jacket, who gives a shit? Scotty Scheffler winning his second Masters. The first, of course, coming in 2022. So not too far of a gap in between both of his green jacket posts. Um, and he was top of the leaderboard for like the entire thing. Bryson DeChambeau, of course, leading the pack after the first 2 days and then kind of falling behind a little bit. But Scheffler just kind of stayed consistent. He sorry, I had something in my throat. Stayed consistent throughout the entire 4-day span, and yeah, found himself on top. And then, so much like UConn being a two-time winner, here's a look at all the Masters winners who have won more than one green jacket. Almost went gold jacket on that one. Thank you, Happy Gilmore. Green jacket. Jack Nicklaus, obviously the top spot with 6. Tiger Woods, one behind with 5. Um, Tiger looked to be in like really good shape and didn't do too shabby over the weekend. So it really becomes more of a question of like, is Tiger going to get another Masters championship and tie Jack Nicklaus? I kind of feel like he might. Considering the fact that we're only 5 years removed from the last time he won one, and then there was a 14-year gap, obviously, between that last one and the previous one. Um, but he's been getting better and better as time has gone on. Obviously, he's had his personal demons, he had his car accident, etc. He seems to be getting past that. Um, I don't know. I'd like to see it. Going in regard to C. Scheffler winning by 4 strokes over Auberg from Sweden. The reason I highlighted Bryson DeChambeau is because before my wife and I left Vegas this last couple weeks, she put in a bet for Brooks Koepka to win. And the reason why she made that pick is because we have a friend who is the friend of the wife of Brooks Koepka. So, kind of keeping within, you know, people we know, etc. That's why she kind of threw it out there. Um, but because of that, and because I look at like the enemy side of things, I thought Bryson DeChambeau was going to win. I, of course, did not put money on this. So, needless to say, after those first 2 days, I was feeling like a jackass. But anyway, there you see DeChambeau tied for 6th, finished a -2. I mean, he started day 1 -7, and so just definitely fell apart after that, but still finished under par collectively throughout the entire weekend. And then we got to flash forward to where did Brooks Koepka finish? +9, baby. So, honey, I love you. But Koepka was definitely the wrong horse to back. Plus, he's an LIV golfer, so can't be supporting those guys. I Carry On says CJ Stroud threw out first pitch in a Hat Club hat. I don't know. I got to go back through and look at that because for whatever reason that hat did not look familiar to me. Um, I did see somebody post about that, and I just ran out of time to check before I did the show. So I will investigate that as soon as we wrap up Benchwarmers and get confirmation on that. And I'll probably, post something on Twitter about it, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, moving on into soccer. Gonna start at the League Two soccer because shout out to Wrexham, shout out to Rob McElhenney, and of course Ryan Reynolds for all the success they've had over the last 2 seasons of Wrexham AFC football. For those of you guys who do not watch Welcome to Wrexham, I highly recommend watching it. I'm a fake hat clubber, unfortunately. Yeah. I couldn't tell the hat because the lighting was not that great. I didn't know which one it was. All I knew is that it was a pinky underbill, etc. Like, I'll look into this afterward. Jesus. And Flashfire, same thing, saying I don't recognize the hat either, and it doesn't have a Tonal New Era logo. So that's why I'm just like, I'm pretty positive that's not our hat. So rainy 99 colors, F you, pal. No, I'm pretty sure color scheme on that does not look like anything that you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna look it up right now. I'm gonna waste time because apparently, yeah, that's how we're gonna operate on this one. So hold on one sec. Y'all forced my hand on this one. How dare you? Nope, not there. Why'd you guys do this to me? See, I'm not even seeing the post, so I'm kind of feeling like whoever did it just deleted it because they realized they were wrong. Ugh. All right, there it is. Appreciate up on the screen. I appreciate the effort there, Flash, but now I got it. Hold on one sec. All right, so it's a script, it's a pinky, it's a 35 years patch. All right, hold on one sec. Nope, I don't want that up anymore. And it looked like it was navy blue, red, metallic gold. So Astros 35 or 35th, actually, not 35 years. I'm going to put in pink as well because that will whittle it down. Boom. All right. So, you know what? Hold on. All right. It is. Yes, that is actually a Hat Club hat. Yeah, I'm looking right now because I did the full search on that. Flat stitch Batterman logo, correct color scheme, graphite crown, navy blue upper visor. I don't know how I forgot about that hat, but I definitely did. So that was definitely it. Which now it gives me the question of how he acquired it. Interesting. Um, nope, not it. Never mind. I'll look that up later. You know what, Crow? Hey, it tastes pretty good because realistically, no, I mean, it's not secondhand. Like I said, you guys made this happen. You guys forced my hand on this. So we're just wasting time, me trying to find this hat and stuff like that. Now I got to go back because I looked up something different. Also spelled somebody's name. My God, slow. All right, Astros, dude. Let me 35th, pink. Yeah, still on the website. I know I was blank. There we go. Still on the website. So, hey, if you guys want to look like CJ Stroud and wear a Hat Club hat, there you go. Go on hatclub.com right now or the Hat Club app and scoop one up. So anyway, Wrexham AFC, with 2 games left to go in the League 2 schedule, they have already clinched their promotion to League 1. So shout out to them. The funny thing that I've been seeing about this is how many people who just don't know or understand soccer have been complaining because, oh, Wrexham basically bought their way into promotion. Well, that's bullshit, considering the fact you still have to play the games and you still have to win them to accumulate the points to finish in the top 2 positions to move up into the next league. Ugh. But anyway, somebody did the math and it took them like 250,000 pounds at the start of this current season to move up in spot, which in soccer terms, yeah, for a League 2 team may seem kind of high. Your intuition is not Wrexham. Shout out to Ryan and Rob on their continued success. Looking forward to seeing what the next season of Welcome to Wrexham is going to be like because I know it's going to be awesome, especially with the context behind this. And who knows? You only got 2 more leagues to move up to get back into the Premiership, which yeah, I mean it's been forever since they were at that level. Because yeah, they're going to League 1. Then if they get out of that, they go to the Championship League, not not Champions League, Championship League, which is the level right behind the Premiership. So we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, um, yeah, the tonal flag on that hat that CJ Shred has, it's still graphite, but it's like a little bit lighter than the rest of the hat. So that kind of threw me off as well. So I I made a mistake. I didn't, I can own up to my mistakes. So, but hey, shout out to CJ Stroud. So here was the standing looking. Stockport and Wrexham obviously moving up. Like I said, Wrexham still has 2 more games to go. Stockport and Mansfield Town both have 3 more games to go. But there's no way mathematically that Wrexham's going to fall out of the top 3. So, oh yeah, that's where they're at with that. So good for them. Anyway, I was busy all weekend, so I didn't get to watch any Premiership games. But from what I could see from all the scores, I don't know why, but this week was apparently absolutely insane in regard to games. And basically, if you were favored to win, you were more than likely going to lose. And for the way that I like to bet on soccer, it probably would have been a very, very lucrative weekend for me had I been able to actually lay some bets down and decide to go a little bit crazy with everything. So, because first up, Newcastle Tottenham. I would have figured it's like, okay, either Tottenham's going to win or there's going to be a draw because that's the way that Tottenham and Newcastle like to finish their games. But no, in this case, Newcastle wins 4. The Luton Town free, no least surprising victory to happen over the weekend. Um, Nottingham Forest versus Wolverhampton. I was feeling Nottingham Forest because they killed one of my bets when I was in Vegas the last couple weeks, and so I said even for because Wolverhampton definitely, but Nottingham Forest could not put another one on the board. They fall to a draw, or they go to a draw. Nobody fell, splitting 1 point. So now I'm 0 for 2 on Ben's bets for this week. God awful. What do we got next? Burnley Brighton, kind of no surprise there. 1-1 draw. Crystal Palace taking down Liverpool blew my mind. Especially considering the fact that Crystal Palace says they are, you would think, but shout out to Crystal Palace and their staunch defense. They did not allow that to happen. And the fact that it happened at Anfield is the most surprising part about it. So I imagine Liverpool fans were pissed after this result. Much in the same sense at Emirates Stadium in London for Arsenal, losing 2-0 to Aston Villa. Did not see this one coming, especially considering that Arsenal has just been blowing the doors off of their opponents with like 3 to 4 goal victories. So to get shut out at home, especially this late in the season, as tight as the point spread is between Man City, Liverpool, and Arsenal right now, not a great time to take a loss, fellas. Not a great time. And then, of course, today, I was asleep for this one, but I know Steven Seavright watched it. 6-0 Chelsea over Everton. And to be real with you guys, the way that Chelsea's been playing the last couple weekends, just like a draw to Sheffield United, a draw to Burnley, like teams that once again they should have beaten, but for whatever reason, they're only getting 1 point out of this, which is better than 0 points. It's better than losing. But there was no reason why those other guys that they played against, they should not have won against. Everton, of course, being in the bottom 5, possibly in a relegation zone. Not at the moment, but time may change over this. We still got a few more weeks to go. But Cole Palmer, 4 goals today. Could have had 5 actually. Unbelievable game for him. And the reason why the 5th goal that didn't happen and them getting blocked, to which case Jordan Pickford, the goalie for Everton, who is hands down one of my favorite players currently playing, because he's the starting goalkeeper for the English national team. I don't know what it is. Him on Everton, god awful. But him on England, fucking savior. So I don't understand the duality right there of why he can perform better on this one and not so great on this one. I guess from my perspective of fanhood, it's great because at least the team that I put more of my focus and energy into is the one where he's doing well with, which is England. But at the same time, I want to see him do well and I want to see him get away from Everton. Like he needs to be on a better squad. I'm not saying he needs to be Chelsea, but he needs to be on a better squad. But anyway, Cole Palmer with his 4 goals today puts him tied with Erling Haaland from Man City for most goals. So how many games divided -2, so 37 games to go or 7 matches to go. Everybody else for the most part has 6. West Ham has 5, etc. So, it's a tight race right now, and I love to see it. So Cole Palmer, of course, putting balls in the back of the net at the right time. He could get the golden boot. You never know. I'd love to see it. Personally, I'd love to see it. So anyway, here's a look at the standings for you guys. So as I was saying, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, only 2 points separating the 3 of them right now. In a lot of my Arsenal friends, just because it's 2 points, but at the same time, the way Man City's been just kind of dominating teams right now, they're losing the faith, so to speak. Aston Villa, of course, getting that big win, and Tottenham losing, separated the gap between the 2 of them. So Aston Villa up 3 points on Tottenham right now for that 4th spot. Chelsea just still kind of hanging in the top 10 there in the 9th spot, which is great. But if they keep playing like they did today, and especially with like 1 to 2 games in hand over some other squads, maybe they'll finish in the top 5, maybe probably top 6 if anything, because they're only 3 points behind the 6th spot. So and then as far as the relegation zone, Sheffield United and Burnley, of course, still in the bottom spots, but that loss by Everton, um, Luton Town's been just kind of creeping, and even though Everton still has like a game in hand, Nottingham Forest getting their point with that draw with Wolverhampton. It's going to make these next couple of weeks kind of interesting. But I feel like Burnley and Sheffield United are going down. It's just really more of a question if it's going to be Everton, Nottingham Forest, or Luton Town who's going to be getting bumped down to the championship or not. So, anyway, hockey. Auston Matthews with his nice 69 goals on the season. He got another one this last game against the Detroit Red Wings, to which case 6-5 loss in overtime. So back-to-back games now that the Maple Leafs have lost the game 6-5, which is wild. And but at least they got a point out of it because they lost it in overtime. But 2 more games to go for the Leafs. Next game is against the Panthers. The game after that is against the Lightning. Auston Matthews, of course, 3 goals away from tying Brett Hull's most goals in a season, which is 72 goals. But more importantly, I mean, if Auston Matthews is able to get 1 more goal, first time a player has hit 70 goals in a season since like the early 90s, which is kind of wild unto itself. So I was hoping Austin was going to get at least 2 or 3. I mean, because he got 2 against the New Jersey Devils on Thursday night, the game that my buddy Tony and I watched in Houston. But yeah, he got 1 goal, 1 assist. Yeah. Tomorrow at 7 a.m. as always. Chat for the bit. My internet cut out. Hold on. Chaparral 2K says, can't wait for the Baghead Leaf fans. Baghead? Do you mean say big head? Anyway, he says Baghead Leafs fans to bag. I'm gonna let you retype that because it's throwing me off because it's wrong. Oh my god. Chaparral, I love you, but that sentence and that comment is just terrible. Anyway, Auston Matthews is going to be there for another 3 years because he signed his extension last year, which makes me happy. So, of course, the real question is, how are the Leafs going to actually perform in the postseason? Last year, of course, they finally got out of the first round. If you guys don't remember that, they took down the Lightning, which is like one of their biggest nemesis in the Eastern Conference. But most importantly, it happened while we were in Detroit for SneakerCon, and I got absolutely annihilated that night on 40 ounces of Miller High Life, the champagne of beers. It was a great night. But anyway, I think Chaparral brought his comment back in. Okay, here we go. Chaparral 2K says Leafs fans actually in the GTA are notorious hot take artists because of postseason shit. Yeah, they are. Um, I'm nervous. And I've learned very much going into the postseason, let alone right when it starts. So I'm a game by game kind of guy. Get those wins, quit losing. Because the most detrimental ones that I still remember, 2013 against the Bruins, the Leafs had a 3-1 series lead. Not to mention they had a 3-goal lead in Game 7. In going into the that one's still heavily on my shoulders. And then you go back a few years, same situation again. 3-1 series lead over the Montreal Canadiens, and the Leafs managed to blow that. So disappointment is the only thing I don't want from the Leafs this postseason. But anyway, here's a look at the standings right now, just by division. Bruins, Panthers, Leafs, obviously moving on. Lightning are more likely going to get in as well, just based on the amount of points that they have. And then cutting over to the Metropolitan Division, Rangers, Hurricanes. When you get triple figures, you're pretty much guaranteed to get in. Islanders at 90 points. Just really more of a question if the Capitals, Flyers, or Penguins are going to get that last spot. So, because only 8 teams are getting in, and we got 7 for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7. Yep, Capitals, Flyers, Penguins duking it out for that last spot. So anyway, over in the West, Stars, Jets, Avalanche dominating. Predators more than likely getting in with 99 points. Cutting over to the Canucks and Oilers, of course, coming in for the Pacific. So Kings, the reigning champ Golden Knights, really more of a question if they're going to get in now because it's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Never mind. They're all in. Screw it. That one's already wrapped up. The Blues, you had a valiant effort toward the stretch, down the stretch, but more than likely not going to be getting in. So bummer to them. Anyway, Chaparral says, I so badly want the Caps to make it with that horrid goal differential. You're a madman. I love it. NBA. The last couple were kind of interesting because regular season wrapped up yesterday. The Magic, the Pacers, and the 76ers. I mean, they're obviously all tied on this graphic right here, but the day before they still were as well. The only difference was the Magic were in the 5 seed, the Sixers were in the 6 seed, and the Pacers were in the 7 seed. This, of course, has to do with head-to-head matchups throughout the season, et cetera, et cetera. And there was also the possibility that had the Pacers taken down the Cavaliers on Friday, the Pacers could have jumped up to the 4 seed. That did not happen. The Cavaliers won, and that's why we had this like weird 3-way scenario, which we still technically do. But the 76ers lost their last game to the Nets like by a huge margin. Pacers won their game. Magic surprisingly won their game against the Bucks, but based on the way the Bucks have been playing since the Doc Rivers takeover, not great. I was also very strategic in my jersey placement because I've got the Doc Rivers Knicks jersey up behind me because as you can see, the Knicks took over the 2 seed. Nobody thought that was going to happen. Nobody thought the Bucks were going to blow that one. Obviously, Giannis being out is a huge detriment to that team. But more importantly, gotta remember, the Bucks were 30-13. 30-13 when Adrian Griffin got fired and got replaced by Doc Rivers. So 30-13. Which means that Doc Rivers and the Bucks went 19-20 after they fired Griffin. Milwaukee Bucks, what the fuck were you thinking? Unreal. And I mean, realistically, I don't feel bad for them at all. They did it to themselves. Celtics obviously dominating and maintaining that 1 seed throughout the entire stretch. But the kind of funny thing that I get out of this is what I'm going to show you next. So here's your 1 through 10 spot. Hawks, Bulls, Heat, 76ers, of course, going to be in the play-in games. I will show you that breakdown here in a second. Western Conference. Head-to-head matchups with the Nuggets, even, but yeah, reigning champ Denver falling to the 2 seed. Not a bad spot for them. Timberwolves, Clippers finally getting their shit together because, I mean, they were down in the doldrums for a bit, but finally going on a good winning streak, getting them back in the 4 spot. Mavericks and Sun locking it up, not having to deal with playing games, but the Pelicans, Lakers, Kings, and Warriors obviously do, which are going to make for some great one-and-done basketball games, not going to lie. But anyway, Eastern Conference, here's what to look out for. Hawks versus Bulls, Miami Heat versus 76ers. Of course, these games are going down on Wednesday. But the thing I wanted to point out is the for sure matchups that are going on outside of the play-in games. New York gets to excuse me. New York gets the winner of the 7 seed, the 7 seed, 8 seed. I kind of have a feeling playoff Jimmy is going to show up. Bad. 3 Milwaukee Bucks get to take on my Indiana Pacers. I am perfectly okay with this because of the fact that, like I said, Giannis is out. But if you guys don't remember, the Pacers went 4-1 against the Bucks this year. not the play-in, but the in-season tournament championship game. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. Personally, being a big New York Knicks hater, I would have preferred, seeing a Pacer Knicks first round matchup, but anyway, if there is a team that I know Indiana has the ability to take down, it's Milwaukee, especially in the position they're in right now. Cleveland and Orlando, of course, going for that 4 or 5 spot. So the way I see this one kind of shaking out, I feel like it's going to be Miami getting that 8 seed, moving on, playing Boston. And because then with that, the Philly would have to play the winner of the Atlanta Hawks versus Bulls. I see the Hawks realistically taking down the Bulls, to which case I kind of feel like the Sixers could take down the Hawks. So it's going to be interesting. I feel like the Western Conference, I feel a bit more confident about how that's going to finish out. Just because the fact that Lakers play the Pelicans. The Lakers went 1-3 against the Pelicans this year, including the semifinal of the in-season tournament to get into the championship game. Lakers won by like 40. So I don't see the Pelicans winning this game. Golden State Sacramento is going to be a great game just because it's revenge of what happened in the postseason last year. Kings and Warriors went 2-2 against each other. Both split the home and road. I feel like the Warriors are playing better than the Kings right now. I mean, realistically, plus the Kings have a lot of injury problems. But personally, I still like don't let this fool you. I want to see the Kings win this game because then Golden State hit the road. To which case then the Kings would have to play the Pelicans. If the Kings can get in, that would be great. But realistically, I see the Lakers and the Pelicans finalizing those last 2 spots out of the West. So anyway, that's the way I see it. Minnesota taking down Phoenix. That'll be an interesting series. And of course, Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. To be honest, I'm actually kind of bored by that one. I personally don't care who wins out of that series. Yeah. So anyway, baseball. A lot has happened over the last week, and I'm actually somewhat intrigued. And it has nothing to do with the American League East, which is showing right now. Yankees, of course, 12-4. Oh, Chaparral saying the Jays won. Well, that's great. I mean, I took these standings before the game started today. So more. But yeah, Orioles still hanging tough. Uh, in the 2 spot, which is fine. Rays are kind of figuring it out. Red Sox started off hot. Now they're kind of falling back down to earth, which is great. But Blue Jays will figure it out. Flashfire saying, and Angel Hernandez being even worse than ever, dude. God awful. I cannot wait until he's gone. Then again, a lot of us felt the same way about Country Joe West, and once he was gone, the world got better. But anyway, the Central is like super confusing right now. The White Sox are exactly where I thought they would be. The Guardians are pretty much where I thought they would be as well, because even last season I said the Twins and Guardians were going to go 1-2. I just didn't know which way they were going to go. But the Twins have just started off this season just poorly. Um, and the Royals look a lot better than a lot of people expected, which is why I had them finishing third in the Central. And then so Tigers being the 3rd spot right now, they look decent. The Twins will get it together. I know they will. They've had a lot of tough games to kind of start the season. So it's going to balance itself out. But as far as the job that Stephen Vogt and the Guardians are doing right now, I'm happy with it. I want to see them make the postseason. I don't care if they do it as, winning the division, going as a wild card spot. Just get in, baby. Just get in. Chaparral says, don't worry, when Hernandez retires, CB Buckner will take his place. CB Buckner is still regarded as the worst umpire in the league, according to players and managers. Like, as much as we as spectators think that Angel Hernandez is terrible, all the players and managers still think that CB Buckner is worse. And I agree with them. Like, CB Buckner is god awful. Chaparral 2K says, also, I feel like as long as Reinsdorf owns the team, the White Sox are basically listless. Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, they did win the World Series under Reinsdorf in '05. So I can't say it's all because of Reinsdorf, but Reinsdorf is playing the same kind of power moves that John Fisher and the A's are doing right now. Uh, but it's just looking terrible for them. Um, yeah. But anyway, speaking of the A's and speaking of the AL West, look at that. Um, Oh, I carry on 15 says, told you on Saturday, Ben, that Jackson Holiday was going to get his hit on Sunday. Yeah, I know. Whatever. I thought he was going to go on Saturday. But anyway, Rangers. This is exactly like the strike year right now. Um, everybody in the AL West, if you guys don't remember, was basically 500 or worse for that season. And by default, because you lead the division, in which case it was the Texas Rangers at the time, you're going to get a playoff spot. But yeah, the Rangers being 8-8 right now, kind of crazy. But the biggest reason for that is the 7-9 Oakland A's, who took a 2-game sweep over the Texas Rangers in Texas, which was all part of a 5-game winning streak for the A's. 3 straight series wins for the Oakland A's right now. First time that's happened since 2021. And on Thursday, I was with my buddy Tony. Oh, it was 2 out of 3. My bad. I could have sworn they only played 2 games. This is what happens when I travel. I miss something there. But anyway, 3 straight series wins. That part is 100% correct. First time the A's have won 3 straight series since 2021. But anyway, um has become more center. Doesn't matter. The way the A's are looking right now reminds me a lot of the 2012 team, which is, in my opinion, from going to games, etc. It's the best team that I personally have ever experienced, with the exception of the first half of the season, 2014 Oakland A's. I don't want to get into in regard to the second half, but anyway, um, it's a situation where it's like, yeah, everything that's going on with ownership and the front office with the A's is, you would think is seemingly distracting the players. The players just want to win, and the way they're doing it is actually pretty fun. To the point where I am conflicted, because the fact that it's like I want to support this team, but at the same time, I don't want to do it from a financial perspective of putting money in John Fisher's pockets. So, perhaps I'm just gonna have to watch more games on TV, whatever. But at the I like being there in person. And if the A's continue the way they're at, I mean, only being 1 game out of the top of the division spot right now. And yeah, we're only like 2.5, 3 weeks into the season. And that's probably saying a lot. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't know. I just see a lot of good chemistry coming out of this particular A squad. And the pitching looks pretty solid. The bats are getting hot. I still feel like they could use Estuary Ruiz on the squad, because he's killing in AAA right now, and everybody's saying, "Well, he's still got a problem with his swing," and it's like, I don't see it. Because the dude, as long as he gets on base, it's like watching Ricky Henderson out there. He's going to steal, 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 and probably score runs. That's his job. So I want to see him back up, and maybe at that point, if the A's continue, winning not only just games but winning series, then it's like that might actually force my hand into getting some tickets and going to more A's games. I'd like to do it, but like I said, I don't want to put money in John Fisher's pockets to do it. Chaparral says, if the A's are competitive going into August and September, does it override the feelings? Like, it would say a lot if the team is good and more people are partying in the lot than in the stadium. But I mean, realistically, as fans, we will go into the stadium to support them, because, you know, opening day in the parking lot, that was just, to rub it in Fisher's face that it's like, there's a lot of us here, and we make the choice of whether or not we want to pay to go inside or not. Because at the end of the day, it's like, even with that, it's like, paying for parking passes still puts money in Fisher's pocket. So it's a bit of a catch 22 on that one. So At that point, if the A's are still rolling hot in August, September, yeah, we're just gonna end up going in the stadium because it's like, well, it's the last year we have in Oakland to support this team, and we want to see them go out, in a variation or form of on top. I'm not saying they're going to win the World Series, but there is a distinct possibility if they continue the way they're going. They could just get a wild card spot or hell, maybe go crazy and win the division. Um, Still got a long time for that to happen. So anyway, love what I'm seeing right now from these guys. But yeah, Mariners, fix your shit. Astros, I'm okay with this. But at the same time, it's like, as I was telling with everybody, I'm not I'm not gonna make fun of the Astros or their fans because realistically, they have an entire starting pitching rotation on the DL right now, or the IR, whatever the hell they're calling it. And a lot of other injuries and other, pieces of their lineup. So they're just in the doldrums right now. They'll get out of it. But it really depends on what part of the season they're going to get their shit together. So anyway, Braves, not a surprise, leading the NL East. Phillies right behind. Mets, commendable third place right now. And the Marlins, who I picked to finish second in the NL East, are terrible, if not borderline as bad or worse than the White Sox. Not good. Brewers finally getting it together. Reds are still kind of hanging and banging there. Pirates kind of came down to reality just a little bit, but they're still in a top 2 spot, which is good. They're going to maintain that one for a while. And of course, the Cardinals in the cellar, which I like to see. I love to see that. Um, Interesting to see how that's going to shake out as the season progresses. Dodgers still in first place in the NL West. At some point, they're going to falter, man. But realistically, I mean, 11-7, and the 2 teams behind, Diamondbacks and Padres, only being 2 games back. Big deal. I still feel like the Dodgers are going to fall hard at some point during the season, whether it be injury or just go on a massive losing streak. Diamondbacks, Padres, Giants, because I have the Giants win the division, and the Diamondbacks finishing second. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, here's my picks from last week. I got one right. Better than going 0 for 4. And that was, of course, the Giants over the Washington Nationals in the first game of their series last week. Booyah. But yeah, UConn putting the hurt on Purdue. I said UConn was more than likely going to win. I just felt like Purdue was going to come a little bit closer as far as the score is concerned. That did not happen. Pacers, I needed them to beat the Cavaliers, but regardless, Indiana still finished in the top 6 spot, so thank God for that. And Nottingham Forest did not beat Wolverhampton. That I spelled incorrectly. There goes my camera. Hold on one second. Dude, I don't know what the fuck is going on with this equipment, but it is letting me down. Nottingham Forest and Wolverhampton, of course, came to a draw. So bummer there for your boy Benjamin. Anyway, here's my picks for this week. Lakers. This change because the NBA is rigged. And the NBA likes to have LeBron James and the Lakers in the postseason. So expect the Lakers to get this win. Canucks versus the Flames tomorrow. I fully expect the Canucks to win, but I'll be truthful in this one. Every time I've actually put money on the Canucks this season, they've lost. So this is a scenario where I'm just predicting them to win, but I'm not actually putting money on it. So that's good. Mariners and Rockies. This is going to be the start of their series on Friday. I feel like this is going to be the series where the Mariners finally get their shit together. And then because I got to throw an EPL pick in there somewhere, I got Aston Villa and Bournemouth coming to a draw. So that's actually the biggest money maker for that particular game at plus 310. So we'll see how that goes. And of course, that will take place on Saturday. Rawr. Anyway, anything else going on with you guys? No, these results are not good, Steven. I can always expect you to chime in with some witty remark because you sir have the wittish bore of a Yaley. No, I'm gonna sleep so goddamn hard tonight. I just my body is just tired right now, and I Houston was great. Like, don't get me wrong, and the amount of meat that we ate this week, this weekend, thanks to J Bar M Barbecue. To which case, if you guys are ever in Houston and want a recommendation for good barbecue, J Bar M. They're not paying me to say this. I'm just saying it because 3 days in a row, their general manager came out and gave us food. Not to mention there was one night where we actually got to go in and sit down and eat, and same scenario again. The man just brought us like a giant platter of meat and sides, and oh my god, I went meat blind at one point yesterday. But it was delicious. Amazing. And the most impressive thing, which I later found out, is they bake their own bread in house. Um, so good. Just to make like a good little brisket sandwich out of. Throw some jalapenos, throw some pickles on there. Money. But anyway, guys, Austin and I will be back tomorrow for Flip the Script. Um, I'm kind of curious. Like I threw the poll up there between NBA and NHL games just because we're going into the postseason for that. But at some point we do need to play FIFA 24. Um, we always play 2 games, so maybe we'll do it for the second half of tomorrow's show. Or maybe we'll just save it for the following Tuesday. Just because like I said, playoff scenarios got kind of thrown askew. Which is why the poll was set up with for NBA specifically, Magic and Bucks, and then 76ers and Nets, because those were the two Bucks and 76ers were the two teams that were most affected by losses in games that they should have won. Um, and then for the NHL, if those get voted in, I had Maple Leafs Devils, to which case I probably should have gone Maple Leafs Red Wings. And then I can't remember what the other I was Canucks and somebody else anyway. But yeah, if as long as Austin has got it loaded up, I feel like we should play FIFA for the second half of the show. So that could be a lot of fun. But guys, I truly appreciate. I can't even talk right now. I appreciate you guys coming in, chatting it up with me, and supporting this. I will be 100% energy wise next Monday, and then for sure tomorrow, and for sure for recap on Wednesday. To which case, I requested the hats for recap like as soon as I got back home this morning. So there are going to be 2 collections for sure, plus a couple other randoms. I didn't ask for any of the variety pack hats, and it's just like nothing against them. I just want to put more focus on the other random hats that are coming in. Because I know it will be a hot topic of conversation. It already has been on Instagram. And if you guys aren't able to piece together which hats I'm referring to, got a big surprise for you on Wednesday. But anyway, guys, I love you. Houston, once again, amazing time. You guys turned out. Um, I I hope at some point we put a store there. Um, that was like the biggest thing that I think everybody asked me about during my time there. It was like, hey, when is it gonna happen? I don't know the answer to that, and I'm sorry I don't have the answer. Because you got to remember at the end of the day, it's like I don't have any ownership stake in the company, so I can't make that decision. But based on the amount of times we've been to Houston, how successful it is, how much you guys turn up and support us, like I hope it happens. Um, or we're gonna do like 5 or 6 pop-ups a year. That could also work. Like every other month, it's like, hey, we're coming back to Houston. We got some new stuff for you, blah, blah, blah. I think either way is a win-win scenario. But anyway, we'll talk about it in-house and hopefully let you guys know in the not too distant future. But anyway, see you tomorrow for Flip the Script. See you on Wednesday for recap. As always, take it easy. And if you don't, take it sleazy. Peace, guys.